I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy. But, it's, then I watched everybody like talking 1,000 miles an hour up there receiving their awards. And I was like, I'm dead.
They are playing with us like this. There's no way that they're playing with us like this. This is not Jim Carrey.
A whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on, because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And and I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because a whole place can't be like, weird.
The internet has seen its fair share of wild celebrity rumors, but every once in a while, a story appears that makes people stop scrolling and start asking serious questions. And this one, it might be the strangest yet. For weeks now, fans across social media have been whispering the same thing about Jim Carrey. They're watching recent footage, comparing old interviews, studying photos frame by frame, and many of them believe something is deeply wrong. Not just different, wrong. Some fans say his voice sounds slightly off. Others point to subtle changes in his facial expressions, the way he smiles, the way he moves, even the way he pauses between sentences. At first, people assumed it was the usual Hollywood stuff, maybe plastic surgery, maybe makeup, maybe just aging. But then, something happened that pushed this story into completely new territory, because Mel Gibson, a man who has never been afraid to challenge Hollywood, stepped forward and hinted that there might be something much bigger hiding behind the scenes. And according to some people online,
I had a gut full of the whole industry. I mean, it's a very strange place, Hollywood. But it's an odd place. And you imagine all these horror stories there that you think, boy, it seems as if I'm being sacrificed over here. No, that couldn't be true. And then you realize that it is true.
Mel didn't just speak about it. They claim he leaked evidence that suggests something unbelievable, something that sounds more like science fiction than reality.
Comment était mon français?
The idea that Jim Carrey might have been replaced, not by a lookalike, not by a body double, but something far stranger, a clone. Now, before you dismiss that idea completely, there's something important to understand. The reason this story has exploded across the internet isn't just because it sounds crazy. It's because the timeline, the behavior, and the strange comments from both Carrey and Gibson have created a mystery that nobody can easily explain. And the deeper people dig into this story, the stranger it gets.
Receiving their awards, and I was like, I'm dead.
Because the truth might not be about clones at all. It might be about something even darker happening inside Hollywood, something that stars rarely talk about publicly. But before we get into the shocking claims Mel Gibson allegedly revealed, we need to understand why people are even asking this question in the first place. To understand that, we have to go back to the man at the center of it all, Jim Carrey. For decades, Jim Carrey wasn't just another actor, he was a force of nature.
For Jim confirms to ET it was indeed just Jim who attended the awards ceremony, and if you need more proof, a representative from the Caesar Awards tells us Jim was there with his loved ones, longtime publicists, and 12 close members of his inner circle, and calls all the fuss online a non.
When he exploded onto the scene in the 1990s, nobody had ever seen anything like him. His energy was chaotic, unpredictable, almost cartoon-like. His face could stretch into expressions that seemed physically impossible. Movies like Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber turned him into one of the biggest comedy stars on the planet almost overnight. But behind the wild characters and the loud laughter, Jim Carrey always seemed different from other celebrities. Even early in his career, people noticed he had a deep, almost philosophical side. he would suddenly shift from goofy jokes to talking about life, consciousness, or the meaning of existence. At first, fans thought it was just part of his personality.
Really dressed up for the occasion. You look good.
No, I
Was
didn't
that
get
an
dressed
accident?
up. I didn't get dressed up.
Who did?
There is no me.
There's no you.
No.
We're not here. This is a dream.
There's just things happening. It's like icons. Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist, but there is a wonderful fragrance in the air.
But as the years went on, those moments became more intense. Carrey began speaking openly about how fake Hollywood could be. He questioned fame, success, and the entire system that creates celebrities. And one particular moment still sticks in the minds of fans today. During a famous interview on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Carrey suddenly launched into a strange monologue about secret power structures in Hollywood. He talked about manipulation. He talked about hidden influence.
A lot of people are asking me to comment on Jim Carrey's appearance. And you can see this is him in 2006, and apparently this is him now. He appears to have had an endoscopic brow lift, as evidenced by his brows being higher than before and his hairline being back a little bit. I also think he may have had some Botox injected into his forehead and an upper blepharoplasty. You can see how his eyelids are significantly more open than they used to be. He also may have had a mid-face and a lower facelift, lifting both his cheeks and the lower face and jowl region. And it does appear he's had some fat grafting into his cheek.
And he even made hand gestures mocking what he claimed were secret societies controlling the entertainment industry. Some people laughed it off as another Jim Carrey comedy bit, but others noticed something strange. The audience laughter sounded oddly timed. People who claimed to be in the crowd later said the room had actually gone quiet. According to them, the laughter was added later during editing.
The secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
Now, whether that claim is true or not, that interview created a reputation for Carrey as someone willing to say things that most celebrities avoid. And over time, his relationship with Hollywood seemed to grow more complicated. He started stepping away from major roles. He spent long periods out of the public eye. He talked more about art, spirituality, and walking away from fame. Some fans admired that transformation. Others worried that something deeper was going on. But nobody could have predicted the moment that would trigger the biggest mystery of all. Because earlier this year, Jim Carrey reappeared in public at a major event, and the internet instantly exploded. People weren't talking about his speech, they weren't talking about the award he received. They were talking about his face. Something looked different. Not just older, different. His skin looked tighter, his facial structure seemed slightly altered. Even the way he smiled felt unfamiliar to some fans who had watched him for decades. Within hours, side-by-side comparison photos flooded the internet. Old Jim Carrey, new Jim Carrey. And thousands of people began asking the same question: what happened to him? At first, the explanations were simple: plastic surgery, cosmetic procedures, maybe even lighting or camera angles. But then the internet did what the internet always does. It started digging deeper. Old interviews resurfaced. Clips from past talk shows started circulating again. Fans began analyzing tiny details, the way he speaks, the rhythm of his jokes, the way his eyes move. And slowly, the theories started getting more extreme. Some people suggested he might be using prosthetic makeup. Others claimed he had hired a body double for certain appearances. But the most shocking theory of all was that the real Jim Carrey had been replaced. And that's where Mel Gibson unexpectedly entered the story. Mel Gibson has always been one of Hollywood's most controversial figures. Over the years, he's had public feuds, scandals, and periods where the industry seemed to push him out completely. But one thing about Gibson has never changed. He doesn't hold back. When he sees something he believes is wrong in Hollywood, he tends to say it, even if it causes chaos. So when people noticed him discussing the strange online debate about Jim Carrey, the internet immediately started paying attention. According to several viral clips circulating online, Gibson suggested that Hollywood places enormous pressure on actors to maintain a certain image. Youth, energy, perfection. He explained that the industry often convinces stars to alter their appearance in order to keep working. And then he said something that fueled the internet's imagination even more.
The whole Jim Carrey thing that's blowing up right now,
Yeah.
that 1000% is not Jim Carrey.
I knew it.
Jim Carrey right now, the Jim Carrey that everybody's suspicious about, he looks a lot like this actor that passed away, I think literally last year.
Okay.
His name is Val Kilmer. He was in Top Gun. This guy, look.
Does he not look
I
have seen that.
Right?
Never mind. Yup.
But
So you
he's
think
a very famous actor. Look. Bro.
Oh, that's Jim.
Bro.
That's Jim.
Jim Carrey from years and years ago, he's always been trying to expose the Illuminati.
Facts.
He did it on Jimmy Kimmel.
I know. They literally had to delete the episode. I mean, not delete, but they had to put a laugh track over it because it was so awkward.
He's probably like the most, I don't want to say like woke, but like he's woke celebrity talking about all of the things that he's trying to uncover.
Yeah.
And pretty much tell the regular people what
Gibson reportedly hinted that what people were seeing with Carrey might not simply be plastic surgery. He suggested that technology in Hollywood is far more advanced than the public realizes. Now, that statement alone was enough to send conspiracy forums into overdrive, because suddenly people began asking a terrifying question. If technology really is that advanced, what else could be possible? Some theorists began claiming that Gibson had quietly revealed proof that cloning technology already exists in secret research labs. Others believed he was referring to hyper-realistic prosthetics that could make anyone appear to be someone else. And then there were the fans who believed something even more disturbing, that Carrey may have been replaced without the public knowing. Of course, there is no confirmed evidence supporting those claims, but what makes the story so fascinating is the strange timing of everything. Carrey's sudden change in appearance, his past warnings about Hollywood power structures, and Gibson's cryptic comments about advanced technology. When those three things collide, the internet begins building its own narrative, and that narrative spread faster than anyone expected. Suddenly, TikTok, YouTube, and Reddit were flooded with videos comparing Carrey's voice patterns, facial movements, and even the way he blinks. Some people were convinced they had found proof. Others dismissed the entire thing as pure internet madness. But the conversation kept growing, because what nobody expected was how emotional the discussion would become. For many fans, Jim Carrey isn't just another celebrity. He's someone who helped define their childhood. His movies were part of family memories. His humor brought joy during difficult times. So when people look at new footage and feel like something is off, the reaction isn't just curiosity, it's confusion and sometimes even sadness. Because if the person they watched for decades suddenly feels unfamiliar, it creates a strange emotional disconnect. But here's the twist that makes this story even more complicated. When Jim Carrey himself addressed the rumors, he didn't respond with anger or denial. He smiled. During one public appearance, a fan jokingly shouted that the internet believed he had been replaced. Carrey paused, laughed softly, and simply kept walking. He never confirmed anything. He never seriously denied anything either. And that mysterious reaction only added fuel to the fire, because the internet hates unanswered questions. But behind all the clone theories and viral speculation, there's another possibility that might explain everything in a much more human way. The truth is, fame changes people. Aging changes people. Life experiences change people. Jim Carrey has gone through decades of pressure, success, heartbreak, and personal transformation. He has spoken openly about depression, the emptiness of fame, and the search for deeper meaning. Those experiences reshape a person, sometimes dramatically.
So when fans see a version of Carrey today that feels calmer, quieter, and physically different, it might not be evidence of cloning. It might simply be evidence of time. But the internet rarely settles for simple answers, and Mel Gibson's mysterious comments ensured that this story would continue spreading. Because whether Gibson was talking about cloning, technology, or just the extreme pressure Hollywood places on its stars, his words forced people to ask a bigger question. What really happens behind the curtain of the entertainment industry? How much control do studios have over the people we see on screen? And what do celebrities sacrifice to remain part of that world? Jim Carrey once said something that now feels strangely relevant. He said that when people achieve fame and success, they often realize it doesn't bring the happiness they expected, and sometimes they begin searching for something more meaningful. Maybe that's what fans are seeing now. Not a clone, not a replacement, but a man who has spent years transforming his life, stepping away from the version of himself the world once knew. But because Hollywood is built on illusion, mystery, and image, the line between reality and speculation can become incredibly blurry. And stories like this one remind us just how quickly the internet can turn small details into massive mysteries. So now the question remains, did Mel Gibson actually reveal secret evidence about cloning? Or did his comments simply ignite the imagination of millions of curious fans? Is Jim Carrey really different? Or are we just seeing a man who has grown and changed after decades in one of the most intense industries on Earth? There may never be a clear answer, but one thing is certain: as long as Hollywood keeps its secrets, and as long as fans keep asking questions, stories like this will continue to capture the world's attention. And sometimes, the most fascinating mysteries aren't the ones with proven answers. They're the ones that leave us wondering what we might not be seeing. So, what do you think? Is this just another internet conspiracy, or is there something deeper hiding behind the curtain of fame? Let me know your thoughts, because this conversation is far from over.